All right, so every February 14th, you know the drill, right? It's all about hearts, chocolates, roses, Valentine's Day. But here's a funny thing. If you're Catholic and you crack open the official church calendar, you might notice, St. Valentine is nowhere to be found. So what's the deal? Well, in this explainer, we're going to dig into why the church's celebration on this day looks, well, a little different.
Okay, let's just jump right into the heart of it. You've basically got two completely different worlds on February 14th. On one side, you have popular culture. It's all about romance, right? But then you look at the official Catholic liturgy and it's actually a memorial for two saints you've probably never heard of, Cyril and Methodius. It's a real head-scratcher. While the world's talking about one kind of love, the church is totally focused on something else.
And yeah, this obviously leads us to the big question, the one we're here to answer. If the church honored him for centuries on this exact day, what happened? I mean, where did he go? To get to the bottom of this, we've got to hop in the time machine and go way back. The first piece of the puzzle is what you could call a major identity problem. It turns out that figuring out which St. Valentine was the St. Valentine, well, it's a real historical knot.
And get this, part of the problem is just how many there were. I mean, believe it or not, church records mention more than 20 different saints named Valentine. Yeah, you heard that right, over 20. So it wasn't just this one single guy. This created, as you can imagine, a ton of confusion. Was the saint of February 14th a Roman priest? Or was he the Bishop of Tournai? Or maybe even a Roman soldier who was martyred down in Africa? Over hundreds of years, the stories of all these different Valentines just kind of mushed together. It became almost impossible to be sure who exactly was being honored.
Now, the version of St. Valentine that we all kind of know and love today, that story most likely comes from a Roman priest back in the 3rd century. The legend says he was martyred because he was secretly marrying Christian couples against the emperor's orders. And that's where we get the whole connection to romance. But, as a historical fact, the evidence for that specific story is pretty thin.
So this historical murkiness was a huge reason for a major shift in the 20th century. The church decided it was time to take a fresh look at its liturgy and came up with a whole new vision for the universal calendar of saints.
This whole reform effort was really guided by a super important document from the Second Vatican Council called Sacra Sanctum Concilium. The main goal was to make sure that the liturgy, the church's public prayer and worship, was crystal clear about the most important stuff, the central mysteries of our faith, like the life, death, and resurrection of Jesus.
So the people in charge of this reform were asking a really fundamental question. They were saying, hey, should the feast days of saints, especially saints where we're not even sure of the history, should they ever overshadow the main event, the story of our salvation? They really wanted to strike a better balance.
And you can see exactly how it all played out here. For centuries, these different Valentines were remembered. Then, fast forward to 1968, and the church holds its last universal celebration for St. Valentine. And then, and you can't make this up, on February 14th, 1969, of all days, Pope Paul VI releases the document that officially changes the calendar. That's what brings us to where we are today.
So, with St. Valentine's feast day removed from the universal calendar because of all that historical confusion, the church chose to shine a spotlight on two other saints whose story and impact were absolutely undeniable. This gave February 14th a whole new meaning, a celebration of missionary love.
So, who are these guys? On this day, the church now honors Saints Cyril and Methodius. They were two brothers, brilliant theologians and missionaries from the 9th century, and they took on the incredible mission of bringing the Christian faith to the Slavic peoples of Eastern Europe.
But why them, specifically? Well, a few reasons. First, their story has a clear, massive, universal significance. We're not just talking about converting a few people, they represent entire cultures and nations being completely transformed by the gospel. And by putting them on the calendar, it makes it more representative of the global church, not just its early Roman roots.
Okay, so after hearing all that, I know what you might be thinking. Does this mean St. Valentine got, canceled? Is he not even a saint anymore? The answer is a big, resounding no. He is absolutely still a recognized saint in the Catholic Church. The change just means his feast day isn't a mandatory, universal celebration for the entire church anymore. You can still honor him in your local parish, or through your own personal prayers, or in cultural traditions. His sainthood is not in question at all.
So let's kind of zoom out from the history and the official rules for a second. Let's reflect on what this shift really invites us to think about. It's a chance to consider the different kinds of love that we celebrate.
And this really sets up a powerful contrast, doesn't it? On one hand, you have the commercialized love of Valentine's Day, so often focused on romance, feelings, gifts. But the church calendar, it points us to a totally different kind of love, Christian love, a love that's sacrificial, that's missionary, a love that's about giving everything for a higher purpose.
And this is the real takeaway here. By highlighting saints like Cyril and Methodius on February 14th, the Church isn't saying romantic love is bad, not at all. Instead, it's pointing us to love's highest and most heroic form. It's showing us the love of the saints, a love that evangelizes, a love that's willing to suffer, and a love that ultimately endures.
And that leaves us with a final thought, a personal question to carry with you. While the world is celebrating one kind of love, the Church is inviting us to discover another, much deeper one. So, the question is, what kind of love will you celebrate?